What's poppin', y'all, and welcome back to another episode of You're That Girl, Act Like It. Period. I be saying podcast like I say period. Such a character, right? Anyways, this is episode 3. Yes. Cue the applause if I can find an applause sound effect when I edit this. This episode today is called To Love and To Lose. 2025 was a year. But by the grace of God, I'm still here. And you're still here. We are still here. Right. Purpose over passion. Love over loss. Yes. So, well, first I want to say, I feel like a good majority of the podcast episodes are going to be shot in this room. Any other locations, we will see in the future, depending on availability. Outside of that, my topic for today, I was comparing and contrasting what I wanted to do next. I have an episode that I want to do with a friend of mine and a new colleague that we met who is in the entrepreneurship herself. And that episode will come soon. It's just, again, availability. But it is in the works. By the grace of God, we will get there. I know I'm saying and like and yeah a lot. But I don't know. I wanted to try something different. I want to mix it up a little bit. And this is kind of in continuation with what I was talking about last time when talking about the deconstruction to reconstruction, rebuilding with God at the center of it all. This, To Love and To Lose. The title, it really relates back to poetry. Because for me, everything that I go through, I put it in my art. And by art, I mean more than just painting, drawing, sketching. My art is in all forms: acting, singing, dancing, painting, sketching. Depending on how I'm feeling, I do my best to use those outlets to express myself the right way. And I want to be able to help and teach others to be a resource, to be an outlet for other people to be able to express themselves as well. So I'm hoping that through telling these stories of things that have happened in my life, or even the people that I bring on, telling our stories and our testimonies and sharing a bit of our wisdom can help you guys along the way. Because I feel like every day we're learning how to survive in a world that's made new and made true. And I want to be part of the solution that will help young girls and young men to know how to, not even just the young people, but people in general, to know how to navigate life. And also to know that you're not navigating it alone. Because I had that growing up through watching movies and TV and YouTubers, especially like over COVID. And even just people in person, like my professors, my mentors, my parents, my family, just having that in my community. In my community, there was very much unity. And I want to bring that solidarity back around and let it keep coming around, because the community is essential. It takes a village, right? So again, I am using my phone as a monitor just to make sure everything is on the up and up. All right, let's get right into it. This episode might not be that long, but you never know, because I'm a certified yapper, so we'll see. So, part 1 of To Love and To Lose. Let me just say 2025 was, in comparison to 2024, that was my stasis year. I feel like 2025, I felt like the first half, I felt stuck. Like I felt like I was in quicksand and couldn't move. Like it's like every time I moved, I would sink a little bit more. It kind of felt like every decision I was making felt wrong. even the ones where it's like, this will be better, this will make things like easier for me, better myself. Even then, I felt like I was second guessing myself every step of the way, and I'm just like, why all this pushback from my conscience, from my inner critic, my inner self, my innermost being? Why so much pushback? Or what are you afraid of? Like, that's what I really had to sit back and ask myself. What are you afraid of? And I realized I didn't want to sit there and unpack everything that I had gone through up until that point, because that's too much to even let the floodgates just open, the floodgates of emotion. So, part 1, what is grief? Now, in the dictionary, Merriam-Webster dictionary, it says, grief is a cause of such suffering, which is true. But from what I've learned, grief sucks. But it's a learning process we all go through at some point. Now, when we think grief, the first thing we think about is in reference to losing someone, like, when someone passes away, something like that. But grief comes in many different forms and many different waves. And I don't really know off the top of my head the 7 stages of grief. But, matter of fact, let me look that up. Because I want this to be an educational experience, because we are all learning together. Okay. 7 stages of grief, according to Google. I think that's what I'm going to call Google from now on, Google. First stage is shock or disbelief. Stage 2 is denial. Stage 3, anger. 4, bargaining. 5, guilt. 6, depression. 7, acceptance. Oh, for sure. I went through all the 7 stages of grief in losing people in my life, losing people in so many different ways, and also losing myself. But we'll get to that last one, because I had to lose myself to find myself. Now, the shock and disbelief. I would say every day from January 2025 up until December of 2025, the first few weeks in, every day was a shock to me. There was always something new going on, and having to adjust to the changes of life and accepting the curveballs that were coming. That was hard, because I was so used to the idea of the way that I thought life was supposed to be, but slowly realizing that bubble that I was in was being burst every day, and it felt like no one cared. And then for a while you deny it. Like I denied, this ain't finna change. That's not gonna happen. Like, it's literally, it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be the way it's always been, and that's that. No, girl, no. Things are gonna change, and they have to change. And if you don't get with the program, you're gonna be left behind. And you don't want that to happen. Trust me. And I was angry. Yeah. To lose something and kind of feel out of control, I was angry, because I was like, well, I did everything I thought I could do to make sure that this was not going to happen. How did this happen? Like, why did I slip so far and so low? I don't get it. And I was angry about that, man. And next, bargaining. In my spiritual walk with the Lord, I would pray a prayer that was very transactional at first. And be like, okay, God, if you do this, I'll do that. If I do this, can you do this? That you don't pray like that. Your relationship with God is not at all transactional. Your relationship with anybody should never be transactional, because then it won't be real. It won't be authentic. It won't be genuine. And it definitely won't be filled with love. And I had to realize that real quick, or else I was going to fall much further than I wanted to. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to get back up. Guilt. The guilt came soon after I tried to bargain, not just with God, but with the people in my life. I felt guilty because mainly for me, it was I didn't communicate, so I felt guilty about not communicating. I felt guilty about not doing the things that I should have done, or putting in place the seeds that needed to grow over time to make a change before things kind of just blew up in my face. But sometimes things have to break down in order to be built up again. And when it was first happening and I was feeling the guilt, I didn't realize that. Depression. Again, roller coaster of emotions that come within the depression. And it fluctuated from day to day. And when I explain the other parts of this, it'll make sense. Even still to this day, I get depressed about it. But again, that's the stages of grief. You know, it comes and it goes, ebbs and flows. And acceptance. For every bit of guilt or depression I feel, I have to accept it for what it is and accept the fact that I had to move forward, or else I would have been stuck in the same endless toxic cycle that could have never been broken if I hadn't to have broken it myself. If God hadn't given me the strength and the resilience to move forward, I would have been stuck in that same toxic cycle. Hence why I'm still grieving. But I'm grieving because I know that I care. Even if something has changed to the point where things or people are no longer in your life, when you have grief, that's how you know that it was real. And nobody can take that away from you. Because if you let go of something or someone and you're automatically happy right after, and you bounce back, then that person was never meant to be in your life. Like that, your paths were never meant to cross. You were never meant to do those things. If you can easily let it go like that, then it wasn't genuine. It wasn't real. It wasn't, it wasn't what it needed to be for you in your life. And honestly, both sides of that are okay. As long as you make your peace with it and walk away from it with your head held high and with respect for both parties. So to go along with that is part 2. I lost my friends. And I had to go back and think about my line of friendships. I never thought I would talk about this on here. Or at least not so soon. I had friends throughout my entire life. I've had friends and I've lost friends. I feel like every time I lost a set of friends or just a friend, sometimes it hurt more than the last, or sometimes it felt the same. Because sometimes I could see it coming and sometimes I didn't see it coming at all. Like when I lost friends in like high school, it's because we graduated and just stopped talking. And definitely COVID solidified us not talking, because outside of class we didn't really talk, and we were all so focused on registering to go to college, and it's just like we kind of got sucked into our own worlds, and we just drifted apart, and we made our peace with that. Now if I see them on the street, I'll say, hey, what's up, how you doing? But it kind of feels like, will they remember me? Will I remember you? Like that kind of thing. And not to be mean, it's just a genuine like, wow, I haven't seen you in so long. That's insane. And then I had my friends in college. Some friends I still have. And then I had a group of friends that I lost. Still to this day, it's so weird because that's the group that I thought would make it. I was a really bad communicator. really bad. I did, and I said things that I am not proud of. We all did. But in the end, even in the end, I was a bad communicator because I didn't know how to bring the words together to even say what I wanted to say, to make my peace with the situation. Like, I really, I don't know, it's like for every situation that occurred, I kind of just let it go and put it away really deep inside, and I tried not to think about it. But sometimes that's another thing about grace. It's hard to give people grace when they don't change. And I kept saying that to myself. And I realized it was hard to give them grace because I wasn't giving myself any grace. I feel like the first step to understanding what grace is when you give it to yourself. And not to be selfish, but to free yourself from your inner self and your insecurities beating you up for not doing the things that you think you're supposed to do. So when I lost those friends, it really, really hurt. It still hurts. Because they were my friends. And I truly wish them well. I know that eventually one day we will cross paths again, and a conversation will be had in a respectful manner, and by then my communication skills will definitely be better. I feel like they're better now because I knew they had to be, because the way that situation went so left, I knew I had to fix something. Because I didn't like the person that I had become. I knew I had to fix it. And that goes into connection with part 3, with losing some of my family members. Yeah. I'm not going into deep detail with that. Because I want to keep that respectful with just me and my family. But when experiencing a loss, it's hard to not be angry, to give others grace, and to give yourself grace. I experienced a lot of feelings when it came to when it comes to loss, because I've lost a lot of people in my family and in my life. And I'm not trying to say that in comparison with anyone, because struggle is struggle, loss is loss. It doesn't matter how much or how less you have or feel of it. In solidarity, we all go through these things at one point or another in our lives. In the same way that I process my grief in losing my friends, I process my grief in losing my family. And I feel like before I ever lost a friend, I've had members of my family who had passed away years ago and recently. And I feel like that kind of grief, comparing it to losing a friend, it's different. But it's also kind of one and the same, because you still feel the same stages of grief. The anger, the fear, the denial, all of that. And then eventually the acceptance. When it first hits, it's like every day something new happens. Some new emotion comes and hits you, and it's like, whoa, wait, slow down. Let's all take a second and breathe, please. And that's the change. That's the abrupt change that you have to get used to. And it's sad to have to say you have to get used to it, but the more it happens, the more you get used to it. And sometimes I feel like I'm slipping into being so numb to the loss. But I know I'm not numb because I let myself feel. I let myself fall. But when I fall into God's embrace, because I know He won't let me fall to the point where I cannot get back up. I'm not that person anymore. Like when I take my moment and let myself just let it go, I know I'm taking that time in those moments to let myself feel and let myself grow through it and not just go through it. Because if I'm going through it, I'm not processing, I'm not learning, I'm not experiencing. And I feel like that's the part that we, all of us, miss sometimes. It's like we want to be strong for everybody else, and you're wondering who's going to be strong for me. When all else fails, in the flesh, through God, and in the spirit, you have your strength. Trust me. That's why I say you gotta lock in with God. Fall in love with his embrace. Gain that wisdom. Gain that understanding. Because God's strength is like no other. And that goes hand in hand with being resilient. And I'm talking that's calling in the Calvary. Okay? That's like the final seconds. That's that 3-pointer that gets you, that wins the game, you know? Like, yeah. And then we come to losing myself. A journey of finding yourself when you lose yourself. There is no instruction manual on that. The best way I can tell you that I found myself again after losing myself was, again, falling in love with God's embrace. At the time when I can say on the timeline of life where I pinpoint me losing myself and finding myself was when I got an internship at the Fierstein Graduate School of Cinema at Brooklyn College. Well, in association with Brooklyn College in Brooklyn, New York. I was very proud to get this opportunity and very excited to go on this adventure. It felt like another tally on my independence board, you know, just growing up, doing grown up things. And experiencing that and going to a different part of the world for me, you know, the more I look at the world map, the more it looks so small and the world is so big. And when I say like adventuring out into my worlds, you know, the way I've envisioned my life and my world, the people, going into that, I had a lot of solitude when I was traveling. And even, you know, being around new people, learning new things, practicing my craft and just diving into my art and what I love. I had time for my inner self to be quiet. For once, she was quiet. She was learning. Like I could feel my inner thoughts, or like my inner conscience, kind of like just, I don't know, you know, the like envisioning someone studying at a table, but not in an anxious way, in a way of like, I really enjoy this. I really enjoy what I'm learning. That's how I felt. Like truly, I felt like I was engaging a part of myself, a part of my brain that was happy to take in the information. It kind of felt like me and my inner self were in agreement about something. For once, we were in agreement. And it was like, yo, you feel that? You see this? Okay, right, cool. We love it. We love to see it. We love to hear it. We love to feel it, right? I feel like when your inner voice is quiet, that's how you know something is changing. Like when you can finally like really rest in your thoughts, like you can hear a penny drop in the water in your head. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you anything like me, your inner voice be talking all day, every day, 25/8, not even 24/7, 25/8, okay, non-stop. She finally took a moment and let herself feel And by her, I mean me. I don't know why being over there and being in another, felt like another world. That is what brought me to this point. I'm glad it did, though. I don't understand it. It's like Jesus says in the Bible, you may not understand now what I'm doing, but someday you will. And for me, this is that someday. This is our someday. Sorry, don't copyright me, please. But yeah. And now to our last point, which says, oh, I forgot to read one little side note that I wrote for when I lose myself. I still am. To actively lose yourself, deciding to leave the past in the past and deny your flesh. Losing yourself doesn't mean you don't have to crash out in losing yourself. You really don't. Because as long as you're losing yourself the right way and filling yourself with the things that are going to edify you and bring you up to a better version of yourself, there's no fear in leaving the past in the past and denying your flesh and taking up your cross and following God. Like, that's also another thing. Like, in that solidarity, in those travels, I learned how to depend on God and less on everything else. Again, falling in love with his embrace. Emphasis on the falling. When you fall, he's going to make sure you bounce back up. He's going to give you the tools and the skills and the necessity that you need to get back up and keep going. He's going to build you to be one of his strongest soldiers in the kingdom. I'm telling you. I'm not telling you life is going to get easier. No, it's not going to get easier. It's going to get harder. But you would... Hey y'all, I am so sorry. My video stopped recording because I think it's only 30 minutes I can record at a time. So I kind of lost my train of thought a little bit, but I went back and watched some of it, and I think I kind of know where I left off, where I was talking about my inner voice finally being quiet for once. Yeah. I don't know why being over there and experiencing that solitude, and I'm not saying I wasn't alone. I was with people, and you know what I'm saying? Like I was with people who shared the same creative mindset as me. So we were kind of just bouncing off each other's energy. And it was really nice to share in that environment. But for once in my life, I felt like in that solitude and feeling my inner self really taking in what I'm learning about, I knew a shift was coming. I knew a change was coming in my life. And in that change, you have to realize you cannot mistake your passions for purpose. Because what you thought you wanted is not what God needs you to have. See what I'm saying? Like, you see, right. So in losing myself, and I still am every day, it's like, I don't want to say shedding your skin, but yeah, kind of. It's leaving the past in the past and moving forward, and you don't look back. Don't be like Lot's wife and look back, because you're going to turn into a pillar of salt. I'm telling you, there's nothing back there for you, because it's already happened. It's come and it's gone. And it's not, no. There's nothing back there for you. I'm telling you. There's no need to look back. Keep your eyes forward and looking on God. Don't look at nothing else. Nothing. All right? Trust me. Because, girl, boy, bro, I'm sorry. You have to actively decide to pick up your cross and follow God. Deny your flesh, leave the past in the past, and move forward. It's the best decision I ever made. It is a struggle every day. I'm not telling you your life is going to get easier. It is not. Oh, no. But it's not going to get even harder. Like, there are times when life is going to be even harder because life is just even harder. That's what it is. Life is going to throw curveballs at you that make no sense. But God's joy always comes new in the morning, every single day, every single second of every single hour. His joy comes made new every day. Contentment and peace is the two most consistent things that God will ever give you through his word, through his love, through his actions. And because of your faith, it will stay. It will be solid. I'm telling you, faith without works is dead. You can have all the faith in the world, but if you don't put that work in to keep the faith, to fight for your salvation and fight for your relationship with God, it don't mean nothing. You got to put the work in. That's just what it is. And putting in the work is spending time with God, falling in love with his embrace, reading his word, gaining wisdom, understanding, and spreading that word, spreading the wisdom, spreading and sharing that understanding with others. I'm telling you, when you have unity in the community, just having that the Holy Spirit infiltrate all of y'all in the same space is such a beautiful thing. That's why I'm grateful I get to do it with my friends. I very much recommend starting a Bible study group because it is very fun. I've never done it before, and I'm glad that we decided to do that because slowly but surely it's making moves, it's making waves for all of us. It's a support group, and it's rooted in God's love, and I would have it no other way. So shout out to y'all. And I want to experience that with my online community as well. So I'm working on a little something to expand on that, but in due time. So overall, I've grieved a lot and still am, but through it all, God is still good, and he is gracious, and he is merciful. That's a fact. Throughout my life, I have loved and I have lost. But the one consistent being in person in my life is God. He's really my best friend. Like, and I'm not just saying that. Like, I legit think about it. The way that I talk to him, the way that he and I talk, he is my best friend. You know, through him, I'm learning how to communicate, how to love properly, how to love myself, first of all, how to learn how to love him. Like, it's an intimacy that is unmatched to any relationship you can have with anybody. Like, in every relationship that you have, God is always going to be first, and he's going to be the center of it. Like, in the rundown of, like, relationships or marriage or whatever the case, or even your friendships, whatever, it's like God, husband, kids, and everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. So I hope that this makes sense, because I said a lot in the other part of the video and I didn't know it stopped recording. I just kept going. I hope this connects with where I was cut off at. To love and to lose. Letting the emotional roller coaster of emotions hit you, but not falling to the point where you can't get back up. Or even if you fall down there, God is going to come and get you. He will leave the 99 to come find you. Best believe that every time. No weapon that's formed against you will ever be able to prosper. Faith without works is dead. Be strong and courageous, for God is with you wherever you go. Okay? You will dwell in safety and security in the Lord's hands. And we are all covered under the blood of his Son, Jesus Christ. He is our Lord and Savior. You must follow him. Follow his teachings, follow his word, follow his love. Even my light has gone, bro. Oh, Lord. It's okay. God is still good. all the time. And all the time, God is good. Accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. And let's have a real conversation about it. Let's learn and teach each other. Because it's always going to be a learning process. And that's okay. The most important thing to remember is that you're not alone. That I'm here. God is with you. He loves you. And so do I. So I love y'all. I hope this helps. Hope it made sense. And I will see you on the next episode. I don't know why I did that. I love y'all. Peace.